Here we go, everybody. It is the final pick and roll show of the season in this format here on the Board YouTube channel. But have no fear, we still have some more great content coming for you guys on this channel going through the rest of the playoffs as well as the offseason with betting content still going to be involved. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Drop a like if you enjoyed this one along the way. We've been doing free picks all throughout the NBA season here, and we do it for pretty much the last time here for pick and roll show purposes. But again, we'll have more content coming soon. We do have a free pick today for the Knicks and the Heat game. But before that, as always, we are going to recap the previous day's bets. And playoffs have just been a real pain for us, unfortunately, on this show. And we'll talk about the blowout. But unfortunately, as a result, Kevin Durant falls short on the points. I mean, he did get a lot of minutes, but ends with 23 points and drops us to plus 9 units in the season, plus 3% ROI. So guaranteed, obviously, profitability on the season, but unfortunately have taken a hit since the start of the playoffs. I think we'll talk a lot about this game, so we don't need to go too in-depth right now, but where did you see things go wrong for Kevin Durant in this one?
I mean, he was on pace to score easily. I mean, he started the game 1 from 10.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just forcing stuff, settling for not great looks. And then he got going, but just he left the game with 9 minutes in the fourth left. So, with the minutes, of course, he will cover this pretty easily. I would say like nine more minutes for KD is probably 5 to 6 more points.
Yeah, he hit 23, so he's two away.
One more bucket in 9 minutes is very, like, I would say 95%, well, 99% chance that.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
So they were favorites at home and they get blown out. And just the way playoffs goes so far, so many blowouts, huge blowouts. I didn't expect a blowout in an elimination game.
No.
But Nikola Jokic was unbelievable, and yeah, it was like perfect Devin Booker game for them to have a chance. First game, Booker didn't play well. Last game he played. So last game it was a close game at the halftime because Devin Booker was also great in the first half. Second half, Booker fell off, and they were destroyed in the second half of the game, in the game 5. So game 6, entire game of very poor Devin Booker. Yeah, you just can't win. So like they won 2 games because Booker shot 80% from the field.
Yeah,
2 games below average for Booker, they got completely destroyed. So 2.5 games of unbelievable Devin Booker, and they were in those games. 1.5 game with Devin Booker being terrible, and they lost like by combined 40 points. So, yeah, it's Devin Booker being amazing, or they are losing. Also, if you look at that game, Suns 50% from the field, 40% from the 3-point line, but 14 turnovers and got out-rebounded. No, Ayton didn't have a great series, but he's not playing as a 30 million guy. But if you look at the guys, 15 millions or 20 millions he played decent. No one can stop Jokic one-on-one. So I think they missed him. Shemet, Booker, KD. I mean, there's no defense in that team, especially against Jokic, who can create advantage every time he decides. Yeah. So Cameron Payne, Shemet, Landale, like if anyone said round 2 elimination game, the team will start Cameron Payne, Landry Shamet, and Jock Landale against this Denver Nuggets team, everyone will say like, okay, that's blowout.
Yeah. And that's what we got. So we'll save a bit more. I want to talk about the Suns a bit more a little bit later on in the show. And if Kevin Durant had the third quarter aggressiveness, as Badger Boy is saying here, as in the first quarter, would have been easy cover, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
that's true.
It's how it's been going for us. But let's hope today we can close this season with a final winner. We're at plus 9 units in the season. Today, We are looking to make it a clean plus 10 units, a nice double-digit haul for the season, if you will. And we're going to go to DraftKings for the final SGP here, and we're going to be taking actually, let's put up the graphic here instead here. We're going to be going to the Knicks and Heat game, as we have done for pretty much every time they've been playing, not really going much to the Warriors in this one. But let's go to the Heat and Knicks game to reveal Brunson, 20-plus points paired with Quentin Grimes, 2+ threes, and Max Strus, 2+ threes. We've had a lot of success with Max Strus. Not so much with the Knicks players, but hoping to change that here. And we're going to get -115 odds at DraftKings. So that is the final play of the season. Pips, or not the final. Well, we're going to have more betting stuff in the coming weeks, but the final for pick and roll, the final official pick locked in for pick and roll. Why do you like this one, Pips, and what are you looking to see out of this game 6?
So Jalen Brunson, this is the lowest point of this bet. Just the guy that has the balls in the hand and that scores a lot. So that's it. So
and he's going to get he might get 48 minutes, to be honest.
Yeah. So he will for sure get 48 minutes because he was getting it in the last game. This is another elimination game, so no reason to change anything.
Yeah,
46 minutes for sure. That's maybe 2 minutes rest in some part of the game if they are up.
Yeah.
I'll say so far 10 games, playoff games for Jalen Brunson, 20+ in all 10. That's the thing. Last 2 games, even against crazy defense of Miami Heat, 32 points, 38 points. So he just massive usage, shooting 20+ times, getting to the line. He figured out the way they are defending him. He's shooting threes, getting to the line. So yeah, this is a good side for Jalen Brunson. Second bet, Max Strus. I'll say Max Strus over the last 2 seasons with 25 or more minutes as he's getting the last couple of games. He scored 2 or more threes in 94 out of 104. So that's 90% clear rate. He also has 6 straight games with 2 or more threes. And in the series against the Knicks, 3 out of 7, 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, and 4 out of 10. So last 3 games, he shot 10 threes in all 3 and made 3, 4, and 4. So that's kind of crazy shooting usage, but that's because they are double teaming Butler a lot, and that opens up Strus. And last game, I expected maybe adjustment for Tips. I know it's a huge thing for ask adjustments from Tips, but he didn't do it. The thing is, he has Jalen Brunson defending Max Strus. I don't know if I like. He is not a guy that can cover movement players like this. He is trying to deploy him in the corner on Strus, but they are playing to Strus a lot, so Brunson is getting involved a lot, and he just unable to guard him, especially playing so huge minutes. He is trying to rest on defense, so Max Strus is getting good looks. So that's the thing. Last game, he played only 26 minutes, and that's because Duncan Robinson got really hot. And they were down and they went with hot Duncan Robinson. I don't think that's happening again. Still, even with only 26 minutes, Max Strus 4 out of 10 from 3. As I said, as long as Jalen Brunson defending him, and he's doing it so far, he's even defending Duncan Robinson. So I think the thing for Tips is deploy Brunson on shooters in corners. So Max Strus will have, I think he needs 6 attempts to get very likely to cover this. And I expect him to have like 8+. So this should be easy unless he's like 1 from 8. And he's one of the most consistent shooter in the league. So I don't think that's happening. Third part of this bet is Grimes because he played 48 minutes on the game. So Quentin Grimes is last 2 games 42 minutes and 48 minutes, 7 and 6 threes, made 3 and 2. I think huge minutes, and Miami Heat is a team that allows a lot of threes, and I think Grimes will be in spot to get some wide open looks and good looks. they need his shooting. He is their best movement shooter, and they need his minutes and him to make shots in order to win this game. I think, of course, like obviously this is the highest price bet in part of the bet, but Quentin Grimes is, if he's getting 48 minutes or even 40 over 40 minutes, he should be able to get good looks against this kind of Miami Heat defense. They are double teaming Brunson on drives. They did it last game. They did it the game before. He still ended up scoring 30 plus, so I'm not worried about that part. But his kick out game to Grimes should be working tonight. So I expect I expect close game. This it is difficult to say this, but I expect it to. The thing is, New York Knicks won't fall without a fight. That's the thing. That's the thing we know for sure. Because we have Josh Hart, we have Branson, we have Mitchell Robinson, Grimes. These guys will give their best. I'm not talking about Julius Randle, but he started playing better lately. Last game he was pretty on point, not rebounding, but scoring wise he was good. I'm almost certain that we'll see Randle with 10 rebounds tonight, but I don't want to bet rebounds anymore. It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking with this one. Hopefully we get it our way. I just hope for a close game.
Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing from some of the viewers here, this one has shifted to minus 120. I still feel like that's an acceptable price to take, but is that something you're still comfortable with? The viewers taking minus 120?
Yeah, 5 cent movement is okay-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, sorry, I wasn't able to check in real time. I'm not.
No, when you were, I checked when you were saying the bet official. I checked it was minus 150. Also on BetMGM. So.
Okay. So if you're able to get minus 115, great. If you can still get minus 120, also great. That's still a good price for you guys to take. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Obviously, you want to keep that completely transparent to you guys. So 2 things that I want to discuss. Obviously, want to go a little bit more in depth on the Suns' loss yesterday. I also want to talk about the Boston Celtics game because that was when I was able to watch a little bit more. I was a little bit more invested to watch. But before that, a request from a viewer here, and this is actually curious to me. Don is asking where the nickname Pips comes because personally, I don't know how to pronounce your first name. I've never referred to you as your first name. But Don is asking why you where you came from the name PipsNBA for your Twitter account.
So in the 2017, I created a Facebook page and started doing NBA props. And I was with my friend, and we talk about the names, kind of crazy ideas. And my initial name for that site was Pips, Chips, and NBA Tips, like something like sounds interesting. And it was like I used that site for 4 years, and it's Pips, Chips, and NBA Tips. And I was always, when people were referencing to me, they always said Pips, what do you think? So I was always Pips. So I just accept the Pips. It looks nice to me, clean.
Yeah,
I made the logo with Pips, and everyone knows me as Pips, and I'm okay with that. That's completely Pips.
All right, good to know. A little bit of interesting backstory on the co-host here. All right, let's move into the basketball talk now. I want to talk a little bit more about those Phoenix Suns. Second year in a row that they have been down by 30 points in an elimination game in the conference semifinals. I apologize to one of our viewers here, Matt, who is a Phoenix Suns fan and a Phoenix resident, and obviously that must have been a tough watch. So I have to ask here, you talked about how the game got out of hand already, but where did the Suns go from here? Because obviously they sold a lot to get Kevin Durant. It cost them Bridges, Cam Johnson, 4 firsts, and a swap. What are the next steps for the Phoenix Suns? Because they clearly have a good team, but maybe still, despite having made this trade, not quite good enough.
The interesting part is the guaranteed contract for the next year. I think only 4 players have fully guaranteed contracts for the next year, and that's Ayton, KD, and Booker, and I don't know who is the 4th guy, honestly. So they kind of they kind of have like they will need to sign a lot of players, and they can't do much with trade. Only thing they can trade is the under Ayton, and I have unbelievable landing spot. I think now it's common knowledge, but I think Buddy Hield, Miles Turner for the under Ayton will be very good for probably both sides.
Sorry to interrupt. It's Shamit who is guaranteed for next
I think
season.
Shemet is okay, a bench player. I think
Yeah.
he can work.
I agree.
Yeah. So yeah. So
This is tough.
they need to make a trade for with the DeAndre Ayton. That's it. They need to make trade with DeAndre Ayton. That's the only way they can get something. And
I'd love to hear in the chat as well what people think on this one, because Matt, who is a Phoenix fan, thinks that it could be blow it up and build around Devin Booker. But I mean, while you have Kevin Durant here, it kind of seems crazy not to go with those two. But yeah, please continue.
yeah, I as I said, I would love to try to get Miles Turner and Buddy Hield in for DeAndre Ayton. That would look kind of good. You need to get away from Chris Paul because you can count on him in playoffs because he's just old and injury prone. This is like out of last 5 seasons. This is like fourth time he had injury during the playoffs. That's kind of absurd. When you go back to the Harden and Chris Paul against the Dynasty Warriors, when he got hurt in the game 5. Since then, I don't think he had a healthy season, so that's kind of stinks. And yeah, he's a good player, but he's old and he is not reliable. Every season, every post season, you can play Chris Paul with 100% healthy, and that's a problem. So I don't think even if he played in this series that changed anything. Maybe even they maybe even don't win 2 games. So.
Yeah, if I don't think he's changing much from yesterday's game, to be honest. I think that game just was going to be blowout regardless.
Move away from Chris Paul. A lot of these, I don't know out of any of these guys who is the best for a resign. Josh Landale, maybe he was decent in the playoffs.
Actually, surprisingly, he was +7 yesterday, despite the blowout.
Their bench got completely destroyed in like 5 minutes.
Every game the bench played, or I mean the entire series, like except for game 5, the Suns bench didn't show up, and the Denver bench,
and
the depth.
Denver bench is not great either. So that's kind of a huge sign. That's not working. So yeah, I'll say Bismack Biyombo, 7 minutes playing time, -26. That's kind of absurd that some player can go -26 in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
Terrence Ross was -27 in 9 minutes. So and he was 0-5. Damn, shout out my 2 former Raptors players.
You had Cameron Payne, 12 of 16. And so you had KD, Devin Booker, and then you had Jock Landale and Cameron Payne combined for 17 out of 22. And you lost by 30. Yeah, that's kind of terrible.
Oof. This is tough. So I'm looking at Chris Paul's contract right now. I just pulled up non-guaranteed next season, or partial guaranteed next season. $15.8 million is guaranteed. I almost feel like it's kind of worth just eating that contract. They have a new owner ready to spend. He obviously really wants to go for it. He was the driving force in making that trade at the deadline for Kevin Durant. He wanted a winning team. I don't blame him.
I think Suns now, sorry for interrupting, but I think Suns now will love to get Mikhail and Cameron Johnson back.
Yeah, well, in hindsight, because, you look at this team, that team could have easily lost in the second round as well. They were good enough to get to the second round.
Sure.
I don't really blame them for saying, hey, we're not good enough to win a championship right now. Let's see what we have with KD. maybe it was, I mean, I think it was a bit too much to pay, but it's just the transition was so quick from getting Matt Ishbia, the new owner, to the trade deadline being like a few days away. And I think he was very desperate to just get that trade done.
Yeah,
They got KD. I always felt like I said at the time, I think they overpaid a little bit, but you have KD, you have Devin Booker.
It's a problem. I don't think it's a problem giving up Mikhail and Cameron for KD. I think the problem is the fit of KD with Devin Booker, Ayton, and Chris Paul.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That was the issue. So KD needed to play not his best game. He shot way more threes than he usually do. He needed to drive to the rim way more than he usually does. So it was not like typical KD game where he is very comfortable. He needed to do so many things that he wasn't doing throughout his career a lot. So also, yeah, I said like mid-range specialist in 2023. 4 best scorers on the team are mid-range specialists, and that didn't make sense. And the trade was made. Phoenix Suns were favorites to win the West, and I always said like I don't see it. And that's not because they are not great players. The fit, that's a huge thing. Getting to players that work well one with another. And yeah, that sucks. And
we were
having Mikal Bridges in this series and Cameron Johnson, like Mikal and Cameron can shoot threes, can defend, have the size. I don't think it ends up different, but as I said, moving forward. So if you want to do something, you have materials to trade, and you still have young players that are great players. So as I said, if I'm moving for the next season, I would love to have Mikal Bridges and Cameron Johnson over KD for building the team around.
So, and having those picks to make a trade for the star player.
And also the Ayton, you can always move the Ayton, and when you have Mikal Bridges. So one question was interesting on someone asked, did Ayton look great on defense because he had Mikal Bridges? That's fair. He for sure looked better.
It certainly helps. It certainly helps.
Yeah, it helps a lot. It helps a lot that Brook Lopez looks unbelievable on defense. I mean, he's great. But when you have Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Giannis, it makes your life easier a lot. So now you have Devin Booker and Landry Shamet being point of attack defensive players. So that kind of makes it very difficult for you. So yeah, he looked poor in this series. And everyone, I will see in the next series how anyone looks against Jokic, because no one can look great on defense against Jokic.
I want to see that AD matchup. I want to see Anthony Davis, Jokic.
If Golden State Warriors lose the next game,
yes, of course.
I think if Golden State Warriors gets to Game 7, they are favorites.
Agreed.
Yeah, but so Lakers need to close this game out. So
absolutely,
that's interesting. Also, the thing with Celtics and 76ers Game 7.
Yeah, well, great segue. Let's move into that game now. We have the Celtics yesterday. Well, actually, before we talk about the Celtics too much, gotta talk about Doc Rivers. Gotta talk about our man Doc Rivers here. Let me pull up what I have. Doc Rivers has an NBA record 32 losses in series clinching games. And the comment underneath is Doc Rivers is the Michael Jordan of blowing series leads. They got the Celtics on a bad night. They got Jason Tatum on a bad night. I know he lit up the fourth quarter, but Jason Tatum started this game, I think 1 of 14, 3 points in the first 3 quarters of this game. They held the Celtics under 100 and lost by 9 points.
I don't think it's fair to say. I don't think it's fair to say they got the Celtics on a bad night. They got Jason Tatum on a bad night.
Yeah, okay.
Because
everybody else bailed him out for sure.
Brogdon, Derek White, and Smart combined for 10 threes made. That's not happening 9 out of 10 nights. So they kind of make up for the Jason Tatum being very poor. So, yeah. I'll say they shot. So I'll just get the numbers. So yeah, 10 from 19 from 3. Smart, Brogdon, and Derek White. Like that's absurd level of shot making. Great game from Smart. He led his team with 22 points. That's also not happening. So they did figure out the defense with the Time Lord roaming of PJ Tucker the entire game, because at the end of the game, when you look, Time Lord Robert Williams was team high plus 18 points.
It was crazy. They started the game so well with him. The Sixers could not score in the paint. He was getting like a ton of just the vertical that he brings brought a lot of points, and they took him out when they were up double digits, and the Sixers came back right away. It was absurd at the start of the game.
I think this is the thing that Doc Rivers said he was preparing for Time Lord starting, and he so prepared so well that he was completely stunned by the way they were defending. Yeah. When he sits, so it was not Time Lord being taken out. It was PJ Tucker being taken out, and then Mazzulla responded with taking out Time Lord because their defensive scheme is to defend the Time Lord of PJ Tucker.
Right.
And I'll say, man oh man, did 76ers couldn't make a wide open 3 the entire game. PJ Tucker was 2 for 7 on wide open corner 3s.
Yeah, I had one late.
Yeah. Then we had the Anthony Melton, who was playing for PJ Tucker. He had 4 wide open 3s in the corner. Same thing, Tucker position. He wasn't even close. It was the side rim.
Yeah, Melton had a bad game.
Yeah. Tobias Harris, 42 minutes, 2 points. That's serious for a guy that makes $36 million. I spoke on the show. I said they need Tobias Harris and Maxey to step up.
Yeah, he did.
Maxey did have 3 good quarters. Then last quarter he was terrible. Maxey in the fourth, I think he missed like 4 threes. The
lights got brighter in the fourth quarter from what I saw to Maxey.
James Harden was first 3 quarters, I'll say, one of the best players on the court. Fourth quarter disappeared, missed everything, didn't do anything well. Joel Embiid, last 6 minutes of the game. Where was he? Like he touched the ball once.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how much do you put on Embiid? How much do you put on the Sixers for not giving him the ball? Because like they did not go to him in the clutch at all.
It's down to Sixers.
Okay, I don't think that's what I agree. I agree.
Yeah, he was frustrated with something, and they scored on the other side. Tatum got 2 threes. He gave up. He didn't even try. He wasn't even running for the last 3 minutes of the game. That's just unbelievable. Very poor sportsmanship from Joel Embiid. And yeah, you can't win games like that. I mean, they were up 1 point, I think, with 5 minutes left. Then they didn't score for like 10 plus straight possessions.
Yeah, it was a massive run by the Celtics, and the Sixers just imploded.
It was a massive run by Jason Tatum, continue attempting stupid shots, but they started going in.
Yeah, I think he had like 4 threes in a row at the end of the game.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 in the last 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, and every single one was very difficult. Still, step back threes. Yeah.
That first one he hit was crazy. He had a hand up. I forget whose hand it. I think it might have been Embiid in the corner, and he just fadeaway 3, hit it, and then he got hot and took over in the clutch.
So the narrative is, I know I say it's narrative because everyone's saying, okay, 76ers got Boston on a bad night. When you look at the end of the game, Celtics shot 43% from 3. 43%. That's kind of big. On the other side, 76ers shot 24%. Yeah. And I would say 76ers had better looks, way better looks from 3-point line. And they shot 20% lower. I think the 76ers, for the first 42 minutes of the game, were a better team. Someone said, Okay, they were happy to be down 7 in the first quarter, in the first half. I think they played great on defense for the first. I think entire game they played great defense, and the shots were just going in for the Boston Celtics in the first half. Crazy shots. On the other side, Sixers didn't play well offensively, but I think this is the game that Sixers shouldn't lose. Like if they played 10 times this kind of game, I think they've been more than enough. Not if they don't give up. So yeah, I think Game 7 will be huge. I think the Sixers have a chance because I think they do. Yeah, I think they have a fair chance. I'll say 70-30 for Celtics, but
Yeah, I think the Celtics win.
yeah,
That's just.
I hope 76ers win because they can win. They need to finally get some shots in. Like you can't be missing threes all the time.
Yeah. Like you said, Tucker 2 of 7, Melton 0 of 4, Maxey was 3 of 9, Harden 0 of 6 on threes. Yeah, it's just going to be more consistent production. And now they have to do it at Boston. So Boston are firmly the favorites to win this series. So I think that was their chance. Obviously, they have a chance in Game 7. That was their big chance to get to the conference finals. So we'll see how they respond in Game 7. They've been in this position before. Joel Embiid has been, at least. Tobias Harris has been in this spot with the Sixers.
I mean, they won Game 5 on the road.
Yeah, they can do it. Hey, you get, Harden again stepping up, having a massive game. Like they'll win. They'll be able to win that game for sure.
It's very difficult for Harden to have a good game when the Time Lord is starting and playing off PJ Tucker. So when he drives inside, he has 3 players in front of him: the guard, Horford, and the Time Lord. So Harden can't score inside. He just needs to make great pass, kick out or something when out of pick and roll, and he did it for the most of the game, and they just missed every shot.
Yeah.
So you can't win this game if you don't shoot threes at least 35, 36, 37%.
Yeah.
And if you are looking at regression, and they are for some positive. That's my opinion.
All right. So I'm excited for the Game 7. We'll see how all of that unfolds. Massive for both of these teams. I mean, just massive game for both of these teams. There's so much riding on how successful this season goes for both of them. So I'm super excited. But that's pretty much all that we have for today. A good question here from Showtime asking about the show format starting next week. I imagine he's asking if it will be a live show. I imagine we haven't talked about this yet. Me and Pips will probably talk about more this weekend. But I imagine we'll still be able to do live shows at the same time, just not as focused on the free picks as we spoke about. We'll be sharing leans every once in a while. If we have a pick, obviously we'll give out the ones that we like the most. But we'll be talking about the games in the same sort of fashion as this. But Pips, any thoughts potentially what the content could look like going forward? Do you think the live streams are still the way to go?
I don't know. We can talk about it and see what makes the most sense. Yeah. We are doing this time live because we want to get some early lines usually. Yeah. So maybe that's not. We'll see. Everyone will know what we decide. Yeah. So we'll see.
Best thing to do is to follow at the Board HQ on Twitter. I'll fire a tweet out on Sunday, likely describing exactly what we plan on doing with next week as the conference finals get started. But that's a good question. To answer it, we don't really know as of yet, but we'll update you on Twitter on Sunday. Yeah. But that is all. I want to just go to this time as well. Matt says thanks for what you do. Looking forward to the next iteration of the show and to next season. And he said he wanted to say that he's enjoyed the content so far this season, and said it's been great spending time weekday morning with us. So appreciate that. Appreciate all of you. Yeah. Appreciate the great messages.
We appreciate everyone that's following us. We know some names are familiar to us from the first show to the last show.
Yeah.
We appreciate everyone hanging out with us, and it makes a lot. It means a lot. Hopefully we get even more subscribers, more followers, and we go next season. I hope the results are better. I'm not gonna lie, this is not this is profitable season, but not the best by any like it's far from my best seasons. My usual results are like 5 to 6, maybe even some seasons 8% ROI. No, that sounds crazy, but we are a bit limited with just the time. But we'll figure it out, and I think we can do better. And yeah, this is the last official bet of the season, and yeah, hopefully this wins and sets the tone for the next season.
Yeah, thank you all once again. Let's recap this official pick for today's show. Brunson 20+ points, Grimes 2+ threes, Strus 2+ threes, -115 odds, DraftKings or MGM. You can all, if this moved to -120, also an acceptable price to take this one at. So that is the last official pick that you heard from Pips. If you guys have enjoyed, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Once again, even though this is the last pick and roll episode of the season, we'll have more content here on the board YouTube channel or the podcast feed for the rest of the playoffs. And also we'll have some content. There'll be more content on this channel for sure in the off season as well, looking at the NBA draft, looking at other markets, looking at future stuff. So tons of great content coming your way. Thank you guys once again for an amazing season. We started this show from like nothing. We started a little bit into the regular season of the NBA just when the Hammer Betting Network began. And from nothing, we've created such a great community of people who have enjoyed the show. So we're very grateful for that. And we're excited to see what the future holds. But thanks again, guys. Not sure if we'll be back Monday. I guess it depends on the NBA schedule as well. But regardless, we'll be back sometime soon. We hope to see you at our next one on the Board YouTube channel. But this has been Pick and Roll here on the Hammer Betting Network.